Hi Tarot friends, this is Julia from Tree Flower Tarot, and this is hashtag Deck Deal Breakers VR to Meg at Rose Honey Ritual. And I want to thank you for this hashtag and for your video. It really made me think about a lot of things, and yeah, how I consume and why I buy the things that I buy. It was really cool, so thank you. And I also watched Sylvain's video at Sylvain's Deadly Sins, Mixed Wrist Rays, and Occult Compasses. And they also, they really made me think about lots of different things and aspects and the boundaries that I set and what's important. And I really wanted to respond, but I'm gonna be so obnoxious. I couldn't find one deal breaker that didn't have like a deck that I really liked that contradicted me. So apparently I'm really flexible when it comes to getting what I want, because I'm a very emotional person, and I think to get a deck I have to really love it. I have to fall in love with it, and it's a burning passion, and I will do anything in the moment that it's to justify getting it, the moment I see it. And if it's just I've learned to wait to see, if it's a real deep passion, or if it's just fogo de palha, something that isn't going to last. But and even though I don't have any deal breakers, I could only find 3 decks that I didn't really love from my collection, because I love tarot, and if I don't love it, I don't buy it. Little ratatouille kind of thing. And yeah, so some examples. Cardstock. You Americans talk about bad cardstock. You have not seen Brazilian printing cardstock. It's like right there with DIY. It's paper laminated. It's really sticky and icky and terrible to shuffle and terrible to everything. These are the backs. But it's the Mythic Tarot. It's the Brazilian version. And the stories were so interesting that I didn't really care about the cardstock. And art, for example, like I could say, oh, I only want a deck that I can click with the art with. But then there's the Tartessos Tarot. And I'm going to be honest, I bought this deck because I was buying another deck at the same store, and it was really cheap, and it was Fournier, and I got it without looking at the cards. And when they got here, they were very distinctive and a bit, what you would call unfortunate looking, kind of. But this deck has become one of my absolute favorite decks. I don't know what happens with this art. I see things in it, it moves. I see people I know in it. It's one of my favorite decks. So yeah, I'm glad I got it. And art, I would buy it again. And this would be one of the first decks I would buy if I lost all my decks. Even though it's peculiar looking. So I could also talk about, substance. So one of the main things that really interests me in tarot is the stories that the symbolism and the occult correspondences. To me, it's like philosophy and poetry together. They're talking about something. They're talking about a way of seeing the world. So I would say most, well, I don't know if most, but mostly if I'm really determined to buy a deck, it's because it has a very interesting point of view that I want to look at. So for example, the Tarot of the Holy Light, I really wanted to learn a bit more about continental tarot. And It has some really, really cool, interesting images. Lots of symbolism. And, you know, you can sit here and read for hours, you know, and getting to know the cards. It's really wonderful. The Heindel Tarot is another one. And the Heindel Tarot I got because I thought the associations would be interesting, but it turns out it's really a very psychological deck. So this is the kind of deck that I would, you know, mostly look for. But, you know, one of my favorite decks is the Bohemian Cat Tarot, and it's just cats dressed as people doing stuff. And I love it so much. It doesn't take itself too seriously whilst taking itself completely seriously, and I love it. And it doesn't have to be all serious and deep and occult to be something that I love. It has wit. It's intelligent, and I guess that's the thing, right? I need to detect some intelligence in the deck, whether it be emotional intelligence, so it's showing me something, or, you know, it's a light. Each deck is lighting up something different, you know, like music does that sometimes. You know, it shows you different ways of being in emotional states, and decks can do that. So even, and there was another thing, you know, like, for example, this is the Magic Tarot by Amaya Arrazola, also published by Fournier. And I don't think this is a very esoteric deck. I think this is the kind of deck that the artist has a project, does it, and, you know, isn't going to spend years thinking about the deck and looking back at the deck and having a whole bunch of very deep messages to say about the deck. You know, it's not. But it's still cool. It's, you know, sometimes it comes out really superficial, and sometimes it's just really cool and spunky and does show things that I like to see. It opens my mind. So I can't say that's a deal break either. The other example is the Anima Antiqua decks, and I got 4 of these at once. It was my gluttony sin. But you know what? I don't regret buying them. Because they are, I bought these decks because I wanted to learn about them. And not necessarily, you know, to work with them. So it's not always a deal breaker that I have to be able to work with a deck as shuffling. Sometimes it's just something to look at and to learn about. And, you know, to play around with these images. So, yeah, I guess what I'm, you know, well, some other points like the rose petal finish. I have the Star Child Tarot, and it's horrible to shuffle. You can't riffle shuffle, but it feels special because it's an expensive deck, and it was very special when I got it, and it makes it feel special. It matches the deck, you know. I think Sylvain talked about a deck that had the rose petal finish. That it just, some decks, it goes with it. Some decks, it just fits. So not a deal breaker again, even though it's not my favorite kind of cardstock. You know, favorite is like this, like US Games. yellow box. I really love it once it's worn in. It's like jeans. It's a bit stiff at first, but then it gets all comfortable and stuff. So yeah, but some decks it just works. So I don't have any deal breakers. That's the thing, you know. It just has to spark joy, I guess. Really wispy answer, but that's it. Anyway, thanks. Bye.